Hello everyone, welcome back to Believers IAS Academy Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis. Today, that is 19th September 2025, we'll discuss some articles important for prelims, mains as well as interview perspective. The first article is from the Hindu editorial, which talks about the age-old debate of Article 200. The article reads, a judicial nudge following struck legislative business. Following the struck legislative business. What they are talking about? They are basically talking about okay. So they are basically talking about Article 200. Okay, they are talking about Article 200. So context is Supreme Court heard arguments on the presidential reference about governance powers under Article 200, that is assent to state bills. Earlier, Supreme Court said that governor or president must act on the bills within 3 months. This was with respect to Tamil Nadu case. Tamil Nadu Governor Ravi was withholding cases or withholding the bills for almost 2 years. So Supreme Court said that in that exceptional case, we are going to set up a final time. That is, the final time limit is 3 months. Within 3 months, you have to either give assent or you have to either reject it or you have to rescind it. Then this has sparked the debate, that is, can judiciary impose timelines when the constitution itself does not? Okay, isn't it judicial overreach? That is, judiciary does have to work within the constitutional framework itself, but here they are giving a provision which is not present in the constitution itself. Doesn't that mean they are overreaching here? So first we'll understand Article 200. Article 200, that is governance options. That is, when the bill is passed by state legislature, that is in states with legislative councils and legislative assembly, it will be passed by both houses. After it passes to the both houses, it goes to governor. So the governor, he has 4 options. One is assent it becomes a bill act. Second is withhold the assent and it doesn't become act. Then return it is returned to the houses and then they will reconsider it. And they will send it back again with or without any modifications. When they reconsider it, he has to either assent or withhold. Then next is, and he cannot return it back again. But there is another option for him, that is reserve it for the president. This aspect, that is reserved for the president, is where the point of contention arises. And this withholding, there is no time limit on what, or the time limit on within which we have to return it or within which he has to act upon it, is one of the major contention here. That is, the Constituent Assembly deliberately dropped the words in his discretion from Government of India Act of 1935. Governor must act on aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. So this provision of the Constitution of India has been borrowed from Government of India of 1935 Act. Okay, in that act there was a provision, that is in his discretion was added there, but this provision has been removed in the original Constitution of India. What does it mean? It means that it is not in his discretion, rather he has to act upon the aid and advice of this Council of Ministers. Okay, so the article argues that this dropping of this discretion provides scope for judiciary to intervene. Next, judicial principles and the commissions. First, Shamsher Singh in 1974. The governor usually is bound by aid and advice, but hinted at limited discretion. But there is certain limited discretion with respect to withholding or with respect to reserving it for the president. Then Nabam Ribia case 2016, which was one of the landmark case. Here the governor is not independent. Real power lies with the elected government. So he has to heed or he has to act upon the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. Next, State Tamil Nadu and Governor of Tamil Nadu in 2025, most recent one. Governor can act unilaterally without assent or reserve the bills. Otherwise, it becomes a super constitutional figure. That is, what does it mean? It here means governor becomes a super constitutional figure, which is contravention to the ideals of democracy, contravention to the ideals of constitution itself. Then in Sarkaria versus Poonchi Commission, governor should normally follow advice of or aid and advice of Council of Ministers, but certain rare cases such as blatantly unconstitutional bills, that has to be reserved for president. Next, in DD Basu case, UK sovereign has no discretion. Similar principle applies in India as well. So The governor should not have any discretion here. He has to act upon the popular government, that is aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Then timeline controversy. What happened with respect to Tamil Nadu and state of Tamil Nadu and governor case? In this case, Supreme Court went beyond its mandate and went beyond its power and said that it fixed 3 months timeline. The timeline was provided so as to prevent governors from sitting on the bills indefinitely. And the government objection was that the constitution does not prescribe any timeline. How can judiciary prescribe a timeline? You are being extra constitutional here. The way you called governor the super constitutional body, you are acting as a super constitutional body here. Next, SC reasoning. The reasoning from Supreme Court is that when governors sit on the bills for years, legislative process is paralyzed, which is contrary to the constitution itself. And the Supreme Court said that we are not anti-constitutional, we are not super constitutional, you are super constitutional, because the governor is sitting on the bill indefinitely. What is it doing indefinitely? When they are sitting on the indefinitely, in reality, they are paralyzing the legislature itself. So that is non-constitutional, that is super constitutional. So we have to step in here. Article 355 says that union has a duty to ensure state governance is as per the constitution. So court implies that union should nudge governor to act here. Okay, so it is your duty that whenever the governor is sitting on the bill indefinitely, it is your duty to protect the state. Your duty to protect the state by nudging the governor to act quicker way, act in a faster manner, not to sit indefinitely on a particular bill. So Supreme Court was like, it is not my duty, it is actually your duty. You should have taken care of it, but you didn't take care of it, so I had to step in here. Next, judicial creativity versus judicial overreach. Yesterday there was another article which talked about judicial experimentalism. Okay, in the Bansal case, Supreme Court gave a 2-month cooling off period, or Allahabad court gave 2-month cooling off period in section 498 of IPC. Which, what does it section 498 of IPC deals with? It deals with domestic violence. In the domestic violence, if the victim goes to the court, then the husband has to be arrested as soon as the complaint is registered. But in this Allahabad case, in Bansal versus Bansal case, Allahabad High Court said that there has to be 2-month cooling period, because this section 498 has been used or misused by the wives in many occasions. And Supreme Court upheld this ruling of Allahabad High Court. So they called that this is judicial experimentalism. So if you are given 2-month cooling off period, then within that 2-month cooling off period, the husband can do anything in his power to make sure that the complaint does not reach courts, the complaint does not reach police station. So that is one more thing. Now we are discussing about judicial creativity and judicial overreach. The critic says that court amended constitution by imposing timeline. The amendment of constitution, is it a duty of judiciary? No, it is a duty of parliament. There is a constitutional amendment process altogether mentioned in the constitution itself, and that amendment process is nowhere mentioning the role of judiciary there. Then why is constitution meddling there? Why is Supreme Court meddling in this constitution? Defense, judiciary interprets to address new constitutional crisis. In example, Article 21 expansion in Maneka Gandhi case in 1978 and beyond A.K. Gopalan's narrow view. Court judiciary said that there are certain aspects of constitution which can be interpreted very narrowly. Whenever there is a narrow interpretation of constitution, it is a duty of judiciary to bring a broader implication. In the Maneka Gandhi case, court held that it is not only the right that is mentioned in Article 21 is the fundamental right. Right in Article 21 is not only the fundamental right, but every right or every aspect of the right that gives meaning to Article 21, that is right to life and liberty. Anything that gives life and liberty, right to life and liberty, anything that gives meaning to right to liberty was also expanded to the right of fundamental. It was expanded to the position of fundamental rights. As a result, Article 21 includes right to marry one's choice, right to privacy, right to move throughout, right to move outside of India, etc., have been included under Article 21. Okay, so that is what Supreme Court did with respect to Article 21 case. So they say that if whenever there is a issue or whenever there is a issues of new constitutional dilemmas or crisis, then the judiciary has to step in, because we are the final interpreter of constitution according to the judiciary. Here too, Supreme Court interpreted to preserve federalism and prevent executive obstruction. What is the preserve federalism? That is the role of state legislature to pass state laws. and prevent executive action, that is executive obstruction through the governor. So Supreme Court said that because of this constitutional crisis, we had to step in. Next, significance of this ruling is that it strengthens federalism. This prevents unelected governance from blocking the elected legislature and judicial innovation. Timeline ensures legislative continuity and reiterates governor's role, that the governor is a constitutional head and not a parallel power center, and checks misuse of office, that is addresses the reality of governors sitting on bill for political reasons. Okay, so author argues that this move by the Supreme Court is one of the major move in the recent times of Constitution of India. Next, second article is about European Union and India strategic roadmap. Recently, European Union has released a strategic roadmap for India, which included trade, technology, and defense. We'll look into this one. So the context is the European Union recently unveiled a new strategic roadmap with India, aiming to strengthen its ties across trade, technology, defense, connectivity, and climate action. This initiative comes amid shifting global geopolitics, recognizing India as a vital partner for Europe in promoting growth, security, and rules-based global order. The roadmap was announced by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and is part of European Union's new strategic European Union and India agenda. Okay, so what is the background and vision? This roadmap seeks to elevate bilateral cooperation between India and EU to long-term strategic level. The major highlights include Europe is already India's largest trading partner. It plans to finalize free trade agreement with India by the end of year, potentially the largest of its kind globally. Because we are not doing with any country with country, we are not doing it India and UK or India and France or India and Germany. We are doing with India and a whole of continent, that is Europe. So which will be the biggest or largest of its kind globally. European Union acknowledges points of contention, that is India's purchase of Russian oil and participation of Russian military exercises, but Russian military exercises. Then key areas of cooperation areas, trade and economic ties. Here they discussed about diversification of supply chains and enhancement of investment flows, and technology and innovation. Here the focus was on emerging technologies, digital transformation, European Union India Trade and Technology Council. Very important point. Next, initiatives to support startups, research, and participation in Horizon Europe program, which is a space program conducted by European Union or European Space Agency. Defense and security cooperation. Here they proposed European Union India Security and Defense Partnership covering maritime security, cyber defense, crisis management, and counterterrorism. Negotiations for security of information agreement to facilitate classified information sharing. Next, connectivity and the global governance. Here, cooperation in India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, that is IMEC, and European Union Global Gateway Project. Here, both countries have agreed to cooperate in these two aspects because it is increasing the trade between these two countries or these two partners. Labor mobility initiatives like European Legal Gateway Office covering study, work, and research. Next, with respect to climate change sustainability, that is joint action on climate mitigation, clean energy, sustainable development, and green technology cooperation. All these aspects have been discussed in the European Union strategic plan. India's response and the global implications. So, Prime Minister Modi welcomed the roadmap, reaffirming India's commitment to stronger European Union ties. India emphasized for peaceful resolution of the Ukraine conflict and invited next India-EU summit to be hosted in India itself. Next, the roadmap reflects India's growing global influence and the European Union's recognition of India as a strategic important partner. While there are certain disagreements exist, both sides prioritize shared interest in maintaining a rules-based international order. Okay. Next, the significance is it strengthens economic and technological cooperation, including critically emerging technologies, enhances defense and security collaboration, improving India's maritime, cyber, and crisis management capabilities, supports climate action and sustainable development, aligning with global climate responsibilities. So, and positions India as a strategic partner in Europe's Indo-Pacific engagement and global governance frameworks. So, which is one of the important development in the recent times. Next, an article from the Indian Express which dealt with Bima Sugam, India's one-stop digital insurance marketplace. We'll discuss what is this. The context is Bima Sugam, envisaged as the world's largest digital insurance program or marketplace, was officially launched by Bima Sugam India Federation, that is BSIF, at the IRDAI headquarters in Hyderabad, Insurance Regulatory Authority of India. Next, the platform will roll out in phases, beginning as an information and guidance hub, followed by full-fledged transactions in insurers and partners integrate. It is part of India's broader Bhima Trinity initiative. What is it aiming at? To enhance insurance penetration through availability, affordability, and accessibility. Aim is to increase insurance coverage in India. Bhima Trinity, that is the three prolonged insurance strategies. What is the first one? Bima Sugam, that is unified digital portal integrating insurers, distributors, and intermediaries on a single platform, and the platform is Bima Sugam. And then Bima Vistar, comprehensive, affordable, all-in-one insurance product. Next is Bima Wahak. This is a women-led field distribution network to expand reach to underserved regions, not undeserved but underserved regions. So these are the three trinities: Bima Sugam, Bima Vistar, and Bima Wahak. Next, key features of this Bima Sugam, what we are discussing now. It is a unified marketplace which includes life, health, motor, travel, property, agricultural insurance on a single digital platform. All kinds of insurance are covered under a single digital or marketplace. End-to-end services, that is buying, selling, renewal, policy management, and claim settlement integrated seamlessly in a single marketplace, that is Bima Sugam. And transparency, minimal fees, centralized policy documents, and uniform access to all the insurance are provided here. Next is digital public infrastructure, that is functions like UPI for insurance, ensuring nationwide accessibility and interoperability via India Stack APIs. Next, support for insurers and agents. Here it will provide real-time validated data access and reduced paperwork and streamlined operations. And finally, innovation friendly, that is it supports new and sandbox insurance products, promoting the sectoral innovation as well. Next, what are the wide-ranging insurance offerings, that is life insurance, term plans, savings, annuities, pensions, ULIPs, all are allowed or provided in life insurance. And in health insurance, medical, wellness, and comprehensive coverage. Motor insurance, third party liability, and own damage cover as well. Next, travel and personal accident, individual and family coverage is provided as well. In commercial and agricultural insurance, property, marine, industry specific, and farm insurance products are covered here. So the significance is it is obviously going to increase insurance penetration, that is helps achieve insurance for all by 2047, that is Vision India 2047. Consumer empowerment, that is enables easy comparison, transparency, and informed decision making from the consumers. Increases digital infrastructure, that is a foundational step in building India's digital infrastructure for insurance. Inclusive growth supports insurers, intermediaries, and policyholders, and democratizing access to insurance products to lower strata as well. Global benchmark sets India apart as a leader in tech-driven insurance ecosystems, providing a model for other countries. Okay, very important. Next is a new policy to boost geothermal energy in India. What is the context? The government of India has unveiled a national geothermal energy policy to test the commercial viability of geothermal power. International firms from the US, Iceland, and Norway are partnering on research and development and pilot projects, in the Gulf of Cambay and Arunachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are being done now. The policy comes at a time when India is seeking to diversify its renewable energy mix to meet its net zero 2070 targets or meet its Panchamitra targets. About geothermal energy. What is geothermal energy? The energy which harnesses heat stored beneath the earth's surface to produce electricity and the thermal energy. Application is it helps in electricity generation, also heating or cooling, greenhouse farming, and aquaculture. The processes here is first is extraction, that is drilling wells into hot water and steam reservoirs, and conversion, that is steam spins turbines, that the steam will be heated because of the heat or because of the temperature that is present in these geothermal energy, and because of that the water converts into steam and steam starts running at a high temperature or high speed, which results in turbine. That is dry steam or flash steam plants. Then electrical generation. Once the steam starts running, the turbine starts running as well. Once the turbine starts running, it results in generation of electricity. And reinjection, that is cooled water is reinjected to sustain the reservoir as well. Okay, so it is a complete cycle. No water is wasted here. Next, India's geothermal potential. The estimated potential is almost 10.6 gigawatt, and the major zones are Himalayan geothermal province such as Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Jammu Kashmir, and Arunachal Pradesh, and Kambega Graben in Gujarat, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Puga and Chumatanga fields in Ladakh are identified as the most promising according to US International Trade Administration. Then Cambay and Gandhar abundant oil wells, ONGC, are being studied for repurposing as well. Next, global geothermal landscape. Total global geothermal installed capacity at the moment is around less than 17 gigawatt. Leaders are USA, Indonesia, Philippines, Iceland, Norway. And the future potential is IEA projects India, US, and China will account for 75% of the next gen geothermal growth in the next coming years. And India's potential is 4.2 gigawatt by 2035 and 100 gigawatt by 2045. And India's geothermal push under the new policy. So India has understood the importance of geothermal energy and the potential it possesses. So it has provided for a new policy. So under this policy, it has gone for pilot projects. That is, firms in Norway, Iceland, and USA are working on Cambay, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh. Remote area benefits, that is, Andaman and Nicobar cuts cost from 30 to 30 unit per 30 or 32 rupees per unit to 10 or 11 rupees per unit. And Ladakh heating and electricity during the harsh winters. So it will also help in regional development. Next, repurposing of oil wells. Thousands of abundant wells can be converted here. IIT Madras project, a 400 kilowatt in Barmer, Rajasthan with Vedanta crane. So they already proved that abundant wells can be converted into geothermal energy centers. Reliance Industries is exploring a geothermal energy plant via ONG division, oil and gas division. Policy support and challenges. The challenges is mainly high upfront cost. Since it is a new technology, it requires more capital, so it is capital intensive. That is 36 crore rupees per megawatt. Next, exploration risks, uncertain resource mapping, and then need for skilled workforce and resource and development. This exploration risk is one of the things which has to be worried a lot, because the regions where there is a potential of geothermal energy is in the seismic zone areas such as Uttarakhand, Himachal, etc. etc. Those states are already going through lots of disasters like landslides, avalanches, flash floods, cloud bursts, etc. If we add exploration risk where you have to drill to the geothermal plant or geothermal energy source, then it is going to lead to seismic pressure. This seismic pressure can lead to landslides and earthquakes, etc. etc. Next, policy support is national policy on geothermal energy by a Ministry of Non-Renewable Energy Sources, and supports R&D and pilot projects, promotes interministerial coordination between MNRE, Petroleum Ministry, and states, plus plans viability gap funding scheme to reduce investor risks. That is, in the initial days, whatever the loss they are incurring will be paid by the government of India. And task force on geothermal energy was set up on August 2024. And ongoing initiatives, MNRE sanctioned 5 projects already, including Vedanta backed, and more projects are expected under the new framework. Significance for India is energy diversification, that is complements solar, wind, hydro, and strengthens the Indian renewable energy mix. Energy security, reliable base load renewable power, that is unlike the intermittent solar or wind, because the solar or wind depends on the climate, depends on the time period as well. Next, climate goals, helps meet India's net zero targets by 2070 or Panchamitra goals under the Paris Climate Agreement commitments. Remote area development, that is reduces energy cost in difficult terrains such as Andaman Nicobar and Ladakh. And industrial growth, supports green energy or green hydrogen, cold storage, and agro industries, and geopolitical leverage positions India alongside global innovators like Iceland, Norway in clean energy technology. Supreme Court order on Work from Amendment Act. I have covered this in detail in the topic of the day. You can go back and check in our Believers channel. You will get the video. I have completed or covered it in detail. This is for people who are going to read from the document. Okay. Next, moving on to the prelims pointers. So the first prelims pointer is Alamatti Dam. What is the context and overview? The context is the Karnataka cabinet recently approved acquisition of 1,33,867 acres of land to facilitate the increase in Alamatti Dam's height from 519.16 meter to 524.256 meter. The move is aimed at enabling the implementation of languishing Upper Krishna project phase 3, which has been pending for almost decades now. Location and the structure: Alamatti Dam is built on the Krishna River in northern Karnataka. Completed in July 2005, it is a hydroelectric and multi-purpose irrigation project. Height is currently 52.5 meters and length is 3.5 kilometers. And the gross storage capacity is 123.08 TMC at 519 meter MSL. And the hydroelectric and irrigation features are: it generates 290 megawatt total power via vertical Kalpam turbines. Not necessary to remember all these things. And the powerhouses is in Alamatti 1 and Alamatti 2 separated by distance, but collectively supplying the electricity. Annual output is around 713 million kilowatt, and then irrigation after power generation, water is released to Narayanpura reservoir to meet the downstream irrigation level. So it is hydroelectric power project plus multi-purpose power as well, multi-purpose project as well. Significance of the height increases: it will obviously, when the height is increased, it will enhance the water storage capacity, and completion of Upper Krishna project phase 3, it will help in supporting water distribution to drought prone areas of northern Karnataka and Maharashtra region, and flood control helps in managing Krishna river floods in the downstream regions of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. Energy generation, that is more stored water ensures consistent hydropower energy generation and supporting Karnataka's energy grid. Recreational environmental aspects: this Alamatti Dam has gardens and tourism, that is 7 acres around the Alamatti Dam has been developed into Japanese garden, rock garden, Mughal garden, Gopal Krishna garden and Lavakush garden. So it supports local tourism, biodiversity and provides a recreational space for residents and visitors. So it is very important not only from the economical perspective but also from tourism and recreational perspective as well. Next, International Labour Organization, the context and overview. Context is, recently the Union Minister of Labour and Employment signed a memorandum of understanding between India and the International Labour Organization. The collaboration aims to develop International Reference Classification of Occupations (ISCO), standardizing occupational data and improving labour policy planning. About ILO, what is ILO? It is a specialized agency of United Nations. We have to understand, it is not an organization of organ of United Nations. Instead, it is a specialized agency of United Nations. Purpose is dedicated to improving labour conditions, employment opportunities and living standards globally. A tripartite structure, that is unique among the United Nations agencies, that is bringing together governments, employers and worker representatives of 187 member countries or member states to United Nations. Headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. History: it was founded in 1919 as part of Treaty of Versailles after the World War I, where the League of Nations was founded in the same period of time, and in 1946 it became a specialized agency of United Nations and the member of United Nations Development Group, contributing to sustainable development goals. And recognition is, it was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1969 for its contribution to labor peace and rights. Functions of ILO: helps in policy formulation, promoting human rights, enhancing employment and improving the worker conditions, and labor standards, that is international labor standards are created and supervised by ILO, and technical cooperation, that is provides support and guidance to member countries for effective policy execution. Training, education and research: conducts programs to build capacity, educate stakeholders and advances labor related research. The significance for India: standardization of occupations. With ISCO, India can streamline workforce data for better planning and skill development. Labor reform support aligns with initiatives like labor codes, helping India modernize labor regulations. Global benchmarking ensures Indian labor policies are comparable to international standards, facilitating foreign investment and the industrial growth. and skill development. This ISCO helps in mapping the skills and jobs into future workforce requirements. And tripartite cooperation, that is, it enhances dialogue among the government, employers, and the workers and the unions, etc., improving the industrial relations as well. So these are the articles which I want to discuss with you today. If you learned anything new and if you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.